We can now use the Deci-Blocks to show an area that many students really find very, very difficult, and that's the measurement unit. So we shall see how we can use these to illustrate area and perimeter. Let's say that the area of this is 1 square unit, then we can determine quite easily that the area of this is 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we can do that in many different ways. So the perimeter is just the distance around. So for example, let's take one of these for example. If we want to determine the perimeter of this particular shape, if the distance here is 1 unit, so this is 1, 2, 3 units. Now, how can we determine the perimeter of this shape? Now, there are many different ways of doing it. We can put that, so that's 1, 2, 3. So we can see that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can see quite nicely the perimeter of that is 8 units. So a nice task I can give my students is to determine the perimeter of each of these shapes. And once again, in how many different ways can you find the perimeter of each of those shapes? Now we can connect the perimeter and the area. So the perimeter of this shape, for example, is, let's verify it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the distance around is 4 units. And the area of this shape is 2 square units. So a nice question to ask my student is, what's the area of this shape and what's the perimeter of this shape? Now that's one task. Now one can make it a little bit more exciting for the students by giving them some really rich examples. So for example, this one, we know the perimeter of this one is 6 units. And the perimeter of this one, you can see 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's verify that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 units around. Now let's say I have this shape which is 6, and I have this one which is 7. Now if I were to combine both shapes, let's say I were to put this here, what do you think the perimeter of that combined shape would be? Just think about it. What would the perimeter be? Okay, have a figure? Now let's see. So I should put that with this. Now it's a really nice problem to give my students. So if I now combine, what do you think that combined perimeter will be? And you can really extend that even more because these pieces are compatible. So now you determine that. Well, what do you think it will be now if I insert this one? Really nice for spatial sense and getting kids to predict, form a conjecture as to what do you think it's going to be. And in fact, it's not an easy task because when I combine, think of what I am doing to the perimeter. So you can see the extension of this one for students. So one can take almost any of these pieces. Nice activity, also games for students. So one student can put a shape like this. Another student can come along and say, okay, what's the perimeter of that shape? What do you think the combined perimeter will be if I now put this shape with this one? So this is just reinforcing the concept of perimeter, the distance around, and the area, which is the amount of space that is covered.